my opinion's not needed. But there's some other people that filed reports about me, and
chances are I was behind it.
Right.
Chances are.
Right.
When
but you're not the one that actually did it, though.
Right.
So that's the difference.
But I had a meeting in this very room, with 8 people.
Okay. Can I have that list of people?
Maybe.
Okay.
I'll never give you misinformation, but I may withhold people. I may withhold information.
Well, because that's what I'm really after. Meeting. That's what I'm after. I was after that list of 8 people.
I can give you a list of.
Because I knew there was that meeting, and I knew that some, I just don't know all the faces that were exactly there. I think about 5 to 6. I have a pretty good indication of, including Drew Ludwig. Was he one of them?
I have to look at my notes.
Okay.
And by the way, going back to it, I don't think I have Alzheimer's or anything. I just think I have such a busy life and world and practice that I really rely on notes to pull stuff up. I know some of the people who were part of this, and
like I said,
yeah.
Steve, I'm not going to divulge that information. We have a mutual agreement.
Yes.
And as far as I'm concerned, this meeting never happened.
Right. Let me tell you what I want out of
me.
Our.
All right, I'm going to write it down. So
collaboration.
And then you're writing it down in the notes too, right?
Yeah, I'm writing what I want out of our association. Okay. From a sociological standpoint, I deal with people who are usually dealing with anti-gun people who are part of my party,
right?
Who can't be reasoned with,
right?
They just.
There's that on both sides. I agree with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like an insight into your brain, if as to how your mind worked, because you were you're the only example I have that's like on the other side of that. But you spoke, with great passion about how unreasonable I was, and I want to try to understand how that works.
I don't think you know what, Steve, to be honest with you, there's a lot of variables behind exactly what took place when it took place. Okay, one of them was I was being used, and I don't blame anybody for my mistakes. Okay, because I feel if there's an actual mistake. Now you got to understand that I hate, and when I say hate, not that I want harm to come to him, but I just don't like him, and I have a really strong dislike for him. Is Don Hay? Okay, I think Don Hay. I don't think that he actually. See, now I'm willing to make sacrifices for the cause. Okay, so in other words, I'm willing to walk away from specific things now, because there's different ways to get to different locations. Okay, so if you and I are both going to the Galleria Mall, okay, and we both have a strong desire to go to the Galleria Mall, but you take a different way to get there, and I just don't agree with it, I fucking hate it, I don't want to go that way, I'm not going to get in an argument, I just got to, and everybody else wants to go that way too, but I want to go my own way to get to the Galleria Mall. I think it's better.
Let me finish with my list of what I want from you.
Okay, insight into my brain.
I want insights into how you think.
Because I hated you, but I didn't.
Deal with it in the future.
There's variables to that.
I know, and it could be that you were being used. It's possible.
Well, like I said, there's many contributing factors to that.
We'll get to it. Absolutely get to it. Next thing, in no special order, I may choose to run again.
Okay.
All I want from you is a fair opportunity to share. I'm not gonna make as part of our agreement that you have to support my candidacy or even that you can't oppose my candidacy. All I want is a fair shot, so that so that I know that you really understand my position on different views, not just guns, but everything. And then if you say, Cohen is a fucking asshole and I would hate to see him in Supreme Court, then by all means, oppose it. That's America. But if you feel that I'm a better human being or candidate than you thought I was, I would ask you to give me a fair shake in your posts. That's all.
Okay.
And the last thing is something you put into my head.
Okay.
Which is, if Scope has enemies, or if I have enemies, I'd like to know who they are, so that I can deal with them.
Okay.
The complaint against me was so poorly written with the grievance committee.
That was Max Tresman.
Yeah, it was very poorly
Yeah,
written.
Max Tresman and Frank Panasic wrote that. I don't bullshit. I have no reason to bullshit anyone ever, because it's something I don't
It
do.
was signed Russ Thompson.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. Rustin didn't do that. Max Tresman did the filing. Well, see now what you got to understand. Max is smart on a couple.
Okay, so he wrote it so that it wouldn't look like a lawyer wrote it.
Right. And then a couple other things about Max. Okay, so I can't say that as matter of factly. I know that Max helped Frank and Russ Thompson through that process. Okay, so what Max did throughout this whole ordeal was to keep himself. He's kind of like laundering his activities. You lawyers have probably a special.
But before you give me any information that I don't have,
Okay.
I want to make sure that it's properly earned. So I need to know exactly what you want from me, because I don't want.
Okay,
you to
I want the list of 8 people.
Okay.
I want the jurisdiction
List of which 8 people?
that was in this room having a meeting about me.
All right. There have been lots of meetings about you, but only one in this particular room.
Okay, I want the players. I want the players that were.
List of 8 people who wanted to neutralize you.
Yeah, and complaints, and I want the jurisdictions and the police departments that they made the complaints in, and if you have the dates, that would be good too.
Okay. Nick wants list of 8 people who wanted to. I'm going to say list of people who wanted to neutralize you.
Right, and the jurisdictions in which because now Hope J, she didn't have grounds to make a police report about me. Okay.
I'm not sure about that. Maybe not.
Yeah, because
I'm not sure that I did either, by the way. But
Right.
I needed to neutralize you, so I did.
I get it. I get the game of war, man, and I could play the game just as well. And we walk the line sometimes as
right.
individuals. I get it, but I just
Okay, so the first thing you want is a list of people who wanted to neutralize you.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted,
in the meetings, in the various meetings. So it could be 10 people. If it was 10 people, then good. Give me.
I wasn't even.
To make and people, then good. Give me.
I wasn't even a part of a lot of these meetings. A lot of things I was brought into only after you started coming after me.
Okay, so give me your insight and the list of the people that want to neutralize me and and how that came about. I want to know because here's another thing that bothers me. I'm a principled guy too, on a lot of issues.
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw Don Hay, for instance, or Tim Andrews going after some of my friends, okay,
Yeah.
and then when I saw him go after Western New York media, Mark Odian, okay, when they were using Mark Odian as leverage, but it goes back to some of the same tools I use, is an enemy of my enemy is my friend sort of situation. I didn't like the fact that they were quoting Mark Odian and Alan Bedanko, okay, because those two guys are enemies of, I think, conservatism and Carl Palladino and some of the other people that I appreciate in this. See, 'cause I don't have to agree with everything Carl Palladino does, but it does a lot for the community, whether you like it or not.
Carl's a good friend of mine,
Right.
and I would never want to ever hurt him.
And then, so the other thing...
I also, by the way, just so you know, and again, you're going to come to know this about me.
Mm-hmm.
People often say they're honest or don't lie, but
Mm-hmm.
it takes proof.
Right.
I don't lie, and if I tell you something, it's true. I used my friendships with a number of people to put a wedge between you and them. I went out, I spoke with Tim Howard, and I've known Timmy and his brother and their family, and we've socialized together. I used my relationship with Timmy, I used my relationship with Carl Palladino, I used my relationship with Ralph Lurigo, which is not a direct relationship with you, but he's the...
Yeah, I don't like Ralph anyway, and he knows it.
Bud Schroeder, I tried to use, but he would flip-flop all the time.
Bud's a major flip-flopper.
He's a flip-flopper, and I was his lawyer for 15 years.
Right.
And his friend for half of that time.
Right.
It goes on and off, on and off, on and off.
Right.
But I used my relationship with those people. I also sought out people who didn't like you to learn what they knew
Yeah.
Because
I get
while
it.
I was running, I
Yeah.
was trying to neutralize you.
Yeah. No, I get
So
it.
there was a woman named Carrie Christman
Oh yeah. Yeah.
who I used.
Right. Yeah. She made a police report against me in Depew.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
But
She did.
I knew Carrie Christman. Hope Jay's father was like a mentor to me. David Jay was a civil rights lawyer.
Right.
And when he died, he gave me his practice. You know,
Right.
when he was on his deathbed, or even while he had brain cancer before he was in the hospital, I went to his office and he handed me 3 Redwells. Those are the large file folders with reinforcement on them, and they were just lists. They were the lists of his clients, and he says, "Here's." And it wasn't really a gift because most of those cases were pains in the neck. Some of them were good, but he was like my mentor for 30 years. He's also a cousin of my wife,
Okay.
David J. So Hope is his daughter.
Right.
So Hope J, had instant access to, so I used her. But the most significant evidence that I got against you came from the governor's office.
Jeez.
Yeah, because my son was Kathy Hochul's
intern.
Intern and director of interns.
Yeah,
and then
I remember that now that you're mentioning it.
and then Andrew pointed out Andrew's father, Mario,
Right.
and I were friends. He was much older. He and Matilda were older. He and Matilda.
He probably a little bit better than Andrew Cuomo though too.
I loved Mario much better than Andrew. Andrew and I can't be in the same room together.
Right.
Mostly because I've sued him several times. Once over the SAFE Act, one over Western New York Children's Psychiatric Center. The list goes on, but I sue him constantly, and he hates me.
Right.
But his office, Andrew's office, did a study on you because you made comments at one of his rallies.
Yeah.
So the New York State BCI, I was given their file.
New York State BCI.
Yeah.
I gotta write that down.
Yep.
Because I'm not.
Bureau of Criminal Investigation.
Okay. Okay. And then what was really incriminating and
No.
not
The stuff
incriminating,
wasn't
but
correct. I didn't use the stuff that was in there because I felt that it wasn't relevant. I felt there was stuff in there involving you in substance abuse, you in depression, you in mental problems. There was stuff in there about you and pistol permit application.
do you still have that file?
Yes,
Can I have it?
maybe,
I would like that.
maybe.
Because it's not.
I have to look at the circumstances under which I got it.
Okay.
If somebody ever gave me anything and said, "You can't give this to anyone. You can't tell."
Right, and I could scrub the names off it. I could.
No,
yeah.
it's not even a matter of that. It's
Yeah,
a matter of me being honorable to to my word.
Oh, right,
with
right.
those people. So if I took it from them under and that's why I take notes on stuff.
Right.
Because I got to remember. But if they gave it to me and said you have to promise never to give it out, I will keep that promise.
Now, it's just a matter of public. It has to be public record. No, it's not. Okay.
Look,
Okay.
I've represented politicians and off-grid and military personnel, and for decades. So I know these people
Right.
Intimately, and they give me stuff.
Right.
But if they gave it to me in confidence, I won't give it to you. If they didn't give it to me in confidence, if they just said, "Here, Steve, use it, God bless." But I chose not to use some things because I felt I also believe very strongly in people's right to privacy, even if the person's trying to hurt me.
Right.
It's
interesting because I don't have any history of mental health issues. One. So I'm interested in exactly what verbiage they used. Okay, and then the other thing is never a substance abuser outside of alcohol. Everybody's dabbled in a little bit of stuff here and there on occasion, but
I have a full bar in my office right now, and every
Right.
Friday, if you care, if it's not violating your oath to yourself, you're welcome to it.
Right. Thanks.
I've got some good stuff open. I had last week. I had Pappy Van Winkle open, which is a really nice bourbon.
Wow.
Last night, every Friday, I have a happy hour, which you're welcome to come to, by the way.
Right.
You never know who's there.
Right.
Every Friday for my office, starts 5 sharp and ends at 6:15 sharp, and you never know who's going to be there and who's pouring, what I'm pouring, but it's always something good.
Okay.
I got stuff on you involving. You were strongly suspected of having committed arson on 2 structures.
2 structures, huh?
Yes.
I mean, because I did have a barn fire at one time.
One was a barn or a
Okay.
garage, and one was there were 2 insurance claims, both of which were, one of which you supposedly collected, I think, the substantial amount of money on, that was studied for arson, and I have your profile that the insurance company did, and but you were paid on it. And one claim you made, I don't have the results of it. It's an old. I have an incomplete file.
Okay, so this is just that's another public record.
It's not public.
2 public records, or I mean, they're records, but they're just records. Yeah, I don't think that. Every fire is investigated for arson, you know.
Yours was called, quote, indicated, close quote. The one that they even paid you on.
By an insurance company.
Yes.
Right, by the insurance company. Of course, because now you know how I fought you or fought Scope is the same way I fought my insurance company.
I got all that.
And I'm a nasty guy. I do whatever it takes because I don't care. I don't care what the public opinion is of me. You know, but I'm not a politician either, so I don't have to care.
Right.
You know, so
right.
They were mad. I'll tell you exactly what that is, and I don't have to defend myself really necessarily. This is just an exchange of information. But what I did was I had a friend that started using drugs, and he had some stuff on my property, and basically he called my insurance company saying that he wanted money, and they tried to do whatever they could so they could void my claim, and they asked me, do you own everything on your property? I said, yes. You know, but the kid that had a couple things, I think he had like a bed and a dresser in my upstairs, and he ended up giving it to me. So when they asked me, I was like, yeah, it's mine. But he was a heroin user, so he called my insurance company looking for a payoff for this stuff that wasn't even technically his anymore. I mean, and I didn't really want to get into that messy thing anyways.
Is the person who lived in your barn?
No, he didn't live in my barn. His brother died of a drug overdose, and we were childhood friends, and I said he could keep a couple things there. It was a bed, a dresser, and 2 shelves, I believe. So, he was moving to Arizona or something with his aunt that was in, that worked for Hollywood Studios or something like that. And he said, well, just keep the stuff, and if you have a garage sell it. So when the barn burned down and they asked me if anything else was owned by others, I said, no, it's owned by me. I own everything on this property. And that's how they tried to get me by some technicality, saying that I was lying. But I had insurance that covered others anyways on the property. My lawyer ended up determining when he looked at my policy before we even got into it. So that's why NYCM was just being nasty and trying to, ruin my reputation, because I tried ruining theirs. I put a big sign out on front, I put a big 4x8 sign, professionally printed sign. I hung it on the structure, and I said, excuse the mess, New York Central Mutual refuses to pay. And I left that up for a year. So it turned into a big pissing match between me, West Seneca, and my insurance company. So that's that story. So, okay, but whatever. I'm still a little pissed about that, because as far as I'm concerned, they tried messing with somebody's life, and that pissed me off. And that's why I don't like insurance companies to this day. But whatever, that's neither here nor there.
No, it's all very relevant, but I chose not to use it because I had some information on your wife. Actually, she's kind of an impressive person. She's got some.
Yeah, she's pretty impressive.
But I didn't use the stuff that was given to me. As much as I was annoyed by you, I drew the line at. I've stood my whole life for. There's a lot that I did do to hurt you, but there's a lot that I didn't do.
Right.
So I didn't use the substance abuse information. I didn't use your mental health situations, the prior pistol permit declination.
What is a pistol permit? What?
Declination.
What's that even mean?
You were denied a pistol permit.
That's factually incorrect.
Okay. I'll.
Substance abuse. I mean, that's pretty broad. I mean, I don't really. I mean, and whether we even have to go through any of that to determine whether it's true is not
You and
really.
I have a different relationship now, and I chose not to use it because I
Right.
felt it's none of anyone's goddamn business.
Right.
And you put your toe on the line. I'm not sure if you crossed the line with me. You got close, but if you had crossed the line, I probably would have said no holds barred. But
Right.
stop just short. I mean, I contemplated using it, and I did do things to hurt you, but I wouldn't use your family. I wouldn't use any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But I do have a record of a pistol permit application having been submitted and not having been the process not going through, so it almost is a withdrawal or something.
I'd like to see that. Like I said, I'd like to see your file. I'd like to have that
Okay.
just because that's pretty interesting. But either way, I mean, that stuff doesn't hurt. I mean, if there's some sort of fraudulent style reports out there, because I mean, it's not hard for people to make internet sites and make stuff up about their enemy, and that's
true.
fine. I get it.
All right, so just to be clear, you want a list of people who wanted to neutralize you, insights into how it came about that people went after you. You want me to give you whatever information I have or can get on the use of Mark Odian and Alan Bedenko.
Yeah, I kind of want to know how these meetings came about and your professional opinion on whether maybe some of what these people did after they left these meetings, was it fraudulent? Did they knowingly and fraudulently use a system to oppress their oppression? You know what I mean? Legally,
Sure.
Illegally oppress them. So I mean, because that's kind of important to me.
Yeah.
Like I don't mind maybe walking the line, because like you said, I guess we walked the line. Sometimes you might even get your hand smacked by a judge for walking a line of, you know what I mean? So
I've been threatened with contempt more times than I can count.
So that's what I'm saying. So I mean, we as human beings, we walk the line. But when there's a clear distinction that you went over the line, where you're in actually illegal territory, where you're, illegally censoring someone or illegally using the system to, silence your critics, and that could be a problem for me.
Okay, but what else do you want? Because I want to make sure I can fulfill these before
Well,
I get information from you. I got these 5.
I wouldn't mind knowing, what other ways you try to hurt me. So, I mean, I might want to try to, backpedal on that. Maybe reach out to those people and, take them out to dinner and say, hey, I'm a good guy, So, to maybe fix that damage. And to be honest with you, Steve, now I could appear to be like a nasty person. My body language sometimes seems like it's threatening, but I'm not. So that's what's scary to people too. I have a loud voice, and I have that sort of demeanor. Okay, and I have a I don't care type of attitude. But that doesn't mean it's dangerous. That doesn't mean it's wrong or illegal. It just means that I'm an individual. I'm made, totally different than everybody else. Doesn't mean I'm violent or, it just means that I'm black or white. So yeah, I wouldn't mind having that stuff. And the thing I want from you is that stuff, and I want Frank Panasic, and I want Max Tresman taken down.
Okay, and I want to know, how do you spell Panasuk?
It's Pansuk.
And Max Tresmond,
E-S.
Tresmond,
Yeah,
right? His
yeah.
father is not a part of this, you're saying?
Well, I don't know. I think a lot of times he works outside of, maybe his father's getting old and kind of a little bit senile. So I think he works a little outside of the parameters I think that his father would like to. I think he just won't mention stuff to his father. And I think he's a master manipulator. I mean, his own friends call him master manipulators. So I have...
Max's dad?
No. Max himself is a master manipulator.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, he plays both sides very well. He thinks very well, but I'm gonna end up fucking him up either with you or without you. So,
let me give you a revelation.
Mm-hmm.
I was under the impression, because of intel I got, that it was an attorney named Paloma Capana or something like that. Paloma, who was the one who was trying to neutralize me.
No, I think she just didn't like you. I think she just didn't like you. You have three lawyers that want this business. They want this. They want to be, known as these awesome, civil rights Second Amendment attorneys. So they're going to be fighting for those positions. And if they can't have an exclusive position, they want to take their ball and go home, right? And that's kind of, I think the position with
it's not that much business. I think all of Scope's business in any given year, maybe on a busy year it'll be $50,000 worth of business,
right?
Which is 3 weeks' salary.
Right.
Okay. So anyway, so just so that I'm clear, what I want, I wrote, and then.
See, you kind of want what I want to give you. So I mean, I don't feel like the payoff is equal. So I need some good shit from you. I need to know exactly what you know. I need to know numbers, names, dates. What jurisdictions these people file these police reports. Because now if you wanna take out the people that tried damaging your.
I just want to know who they are.
Well, see, now this is what I want from you though. Because you're asking me what I want from you,
yeah.
And I want you to follow up with ethics violations against Max Tresman and possibly involve Frank Panasic.
If I can find, rest assured, I think one thing you're going to get out of either this meeting or this meeting and meetings to come is I don't let go. I hang on, I hold on.
Right.
And if I have the evidence to against these people, I will.
Mm-hmm.
But here's what I don't do. Everyone asks me. I was asked on Dr. Phil. I was asked on Good Morning America by George Stephanopoulos.
Mm-hmm.
They all asked me, they say, how do you have a 98% win record? It seems almost impossible. They asked us on national TV. But just asking the question got me even more national business, which was pretty fun. Because I don't start a case until I know I can win it.
Right.
Because if you attack somebody, give it your all, and then lose, you're going to embolden them.
Right.
So I'm not going to go after Frank Panasic or Max Tresman until I have enough to go after them.
Yeah, I hear you.
So that's
but between you and I might be able to maybe possibly give you enough to.
It could be. Now, here a couple of interesting things. You mentioned at a very odd time. The timing was odd. You said, "Hey, you're getting behind Tom Bowerly."
Yeah.
Where would you get that from? It was very interesting because I had never. I was on Tom Bowerly's show twice years ago.
Right.
Because I had been on that radio network 100 times.
Uh-huh.
Then I don't hear anything about anything from anybody. In fact, Tom took shots at me over the years on the radio, which is good. Any publicity I like, even if it's bad, because then the people who, whatever. And then he reaches out to me, having nothing to do with you. Your name didn't even come up. And then, like a month later, you mentioned me and Tom Bowerly. How did that ever come about?
Okay, so he talked to you a month previous. He wanted you to look at a thing he did, a write-up on, CIA intelligence and their programs and their illegal surveillance and all that stuff.
I can't.
No. I already know.
I
already know.
More because he spoke to me confidentially.
No, I know. I got it. But I already. But there's things I know just because I have friends too, in low and high places. So, and people are watching Tom. I'm not. I don't give a shit what the fucker does on his own time, unless it involves me. and he did involve me. So now I go and start doing what you do. You're collecting intelligence on people because you need to. You need to know who your enemies are. You need to know, where this goes.
Absolutely.
So I was out in Texas and with a best friend. My wife goes out with 4 of her friends. She's a really sweet girl, my wife. Okay?
Yes.
She's a very good person. And how I ended up with a really good girl like her, I don't know how, but she was out with 3 other sweet friends. Tom Bowerly doesn't like me because of Frank Panasic is his good friend. And this is the weird thing, though, Steve, too, you got to understand, now, if you try to hurt my friend, I can't hang out with you and be your friend. Okay, where it's weird for Tom because he has a guy named Steve Cohen that is, I don't know, kind of his friend,
Who said that?
Well, he mentioned that you
Bowerly?
were. Yeah, Bowerly.
I've never seen him socially.
Yeah,
Ever.
Bowerly mentioned that, well, you're a civil rights attorney to, different people and but here's the problem. Now Frank Panasic now I went after Don Hay unrelated to you. It wasn't because I didn't like you at the time. I said, who the fuck is this Steve Cohen guy and why is Don Hay endorsing him? He has no right to do that. Scope can't do that.
You were right about that.
Right. So I go up to Don Hay on the Second Amendment, the Scope site, the Erie County, Scope site, and I said, I don't know who this Steve Cohen is. I said, but what gives you the right to endorse him?
Yeah.
And basically he gave me some smart ass answer like I am Scope and blah blah blah, and that just like triggered me.
He was state chairman, but he did overstep his authority.
Yeah, he overstepped his authority and the way he puffed his chest out to me when I questioned him on these things, because I figured, well,
But why did you go after him to begin with? He's as far as I'm concerned, you two are like-minded. I don't see any difference in your ideologies.
Well,
because you said you went after him prior to his endorsement of me.
Yeah, because what did I would have to call my wife to remember why I went after him.
Fight with that Steve Allstat?
It was that because he spent all this money to sue our organization with you. When I felt that it should have been internalized, it should have been worked out internally amongst the members and the board.
That came later.
Okay, well, that was one of my gripes with him.
But earlier, before he endorsed me, because the NRA endorsed me.
Well, he endorsed you, and it wasn't so much that it was you, because at the time I really didn't know you. You weren't on my radar, and you still really aren't on my radar. It was only, you know how a police officer will pull you over and then they start doing like these stackable violations against somebody?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it was with him in his case. So I started having like these stackable violations with him. Okay, so then I do a little research on you. I started asking people. I say, Frank Panasic, who is this guy, Steve Cohen? And, he tells me who Steve Cohen is. He's a cop suing, anti-cop, blah, 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 blah. Big-time Democrat. And this is where it gets kind of funny, too. He says a big-time Democrat. Democrats aren't no good. Look at Panapino. He's a Democrat. So, now, fast forward, and then we'll come back to that part. Now he's got this 1791 organization. He's endorsing Democrats. John Flynn.
Yeah.
And if I told you a couple things about John Flynn, you just to your face, and I don't want to get too messy with him, okay, because that dude could fuck me up. You know what I mean? Probably if he wanted to. He could use a little bit of his influence here and there. I'm not too scared of anybody, because if you want to throw me in jail for a year, throw me in jail. I don't give a shit, But, now, I know some stuff about him that you would probably like, but I'm going to keep that for now, okay?
Yeah, John Flynn's not part of this equation that I know of.
No, he's not. But all I'm saying is...
In fact, I did try to poison you with John Flynn.
Mm-hmm, right.
I did speak with John. I've known John.
Mm-hmm.
For a number of years.
Right.
We haven't socialized together, but he knows me as one of the few clearable attorneys that handles disputes between naval personnel
Okay.
and
Yeah.
the U.S. Navy.
Right.
So John and I have instant credibility with one another, and so I actually, chances are a lot of the stomach acid you have was caused by me, quite frankly. But I'll get into details as to what I did,
Right.
and then maybe I can help you to undo that. I mean, it's as simple as a call to different people to say, hey, you know what? I sat down with Nick Orticelli, and once they bring the phone back to their head, you know,
Right.
I'll say, you know, and we're all squared away. You know, it could all neutralize. I think it could all neutralize. Some
Right.
of it can.
Well, I don't. Depending on what the stuff is, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know exactly what acid we're talking about, and because I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of stuff that happened over the. You know.
You've had 5 criminal complaints filed against
Okay,
you.
5. Okay, I'll write that down.
Yeah.
5 criminal. But you're gonna give me a copy of this stuff, anyways.
Yeah, let me. I'll give you the data. Whether I give you actual copies, I have to look at specific circumstances of how I came upon it.
Okay. Okay, so the one criminal complaint was we know Kerry Chrisman, right?
Actually, oh yeah, Depew.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, me in Amherst.
And then you talked to the sheriff's department too.
I texted. I mean, you know, I don't know if you accept what I'm saying about credibility, but I'll show you briefly that you can see the length of text strings I have with people like Tim Howard and Carl Palladino and well, actually Geraci I did too, but he's out now.
Who?
Geraci was Sheriff Geraci from Chautauqua County. He was just voted out of office.
Oh, so that must have been over Mike Guerin then.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so Mike Guerin made a police report against me then, I assume?
Mike Guerin, Guerin.
Yeah. He made a police report against me, you think?
Hang on. When I said that that must have been through Mike Guerin, first of all, I think Mike is Cattaraugus County, not Chautauqua.
Yes, he is.
So, but Mike and his daughter used influence to support someone to defeat Democrat Sheriff Geraci.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. The Chautauqua Scope president, which was Conti or
I've got all that. So,
yeah. Okay.
But in any event, but I go way back. I go back with Justice Frank Geraci. Some of them call themselves Geraci, some call themselves Geracis.
Mm-hmm.
In Mayville, I go way back with that family. So there was a time that when I did my lecture circuit, and I go around giving talks. I'm giving one on Thursday.
Right.
Again, this Thursday. But what I did was I had my people raise alarms. I had Craig Johnson from the Amherst Police send out a bulletin to be on the lookout for you, so that every cop that I could influence was looking for you. You were followed for like 3 days. I don't even know if you realize it because you never did anything. They said you didn't change your speed or course or driving, but you had been followed for 3 days.
Well, in what area?
West Seneca.
Okay. Well, I mean, sure. I mean, I don't really. See, I don't do anything criminal, so I'm never worried. You know.
But they followed you for in West Seneca, and then West Seneca Police, Erie County Sheriffs followed you, and City Buffalo followed you when you were spotted. They called it in, and you were in City of Buffalo for about 40 minutes or so. And
yeah.
I just wanted you to feel paranoid that the police were following you.
Yeah, I don't get paranoid easy,
Yeah.
but I mean, if you bring the FBI around and start, walking my yard, then I might be paranoid. But yeah, I hear what you're saying, right?
So in any event, in my mind, you definitely were exercising your First Amendment right, although what you were spouting was simply not true. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you could say about me that you probably don't like. But you picked on guns, which is just the most bizarre thing. But I tried to find if you crossed the line. I sat down, John and Suzanne Askey, Chief of Police, Chief of Amherst, John and Suzanne, and Pam and I, my wife and I, have known each other for 30 years.
Okay.
I mean, we're dear friends. I knew John's father, Chief Askey, and I sat down with the chief and John and two investigators on one occasion, and we looked to see if you had crossed the line, and they said, Steve, all you have to do is say that he threatened your life. I said, but he didn't.
Right.
And all you have to do is say this, and we'll arrest him. I said, he didn't quite go that far. He's, here's what he wrote.
Well, I mean, quite go that far. I mean, that's way far compared to, as far as I'm concerned, what I did say and what I threatened your life. That's a big, major difference. That's saying, well, Steve's a no good piece of shit, cop hating, blah, 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 blah. Or he threatened my life, which is like, holy shit, that's a real credible threat. Right.
However, the governor's office considered you a threat to the governor.
Well, sure, anybody that speaks against him, it's one of those things. Well, I heckled the governor, and I'll do it again. You know what I mean?
I might be right by your side, though.
Right. So I took shots at him numerous times, which was within my First Amendment rights. You know what I mean? So I'm not neither. I get sometimes a little embarrassed about it, but other points I'm like, well, I don't know. Some people would look at that as noble.
Okay. Anyway, so what you want from me is these 8 things. A list of people who want to neutralize you. I can give you everyone who I know. I only know my little slice of the world.
Right, and the complaints too. Who made the complaint? You said Hope J.
Insights into how it came about that people came after you. Information that I have or can get concerning their use of Mark Odian and Alan Bedenko. Opinion on what these people did, whether it was fraudulent. You want to know what I did to try to hurt you.
Who you talked to.
I would phrase it what I did to neutralize you, but you said what I did to try to hurt you, so I used your language.
Whatever. You know what? I'm not trying to incriminate anyone here, obviously.
I got it.
But so we don't have to get stuck. I mean, you play on words. I don't. I just,
Okay, and you want Frank Panasic and Max Tresman taken down.
Yes, and I want the NSBI file from the governor's office. I would like that, even if you take their heading off.
BCI?
Or BCI, right? Isn't that what you called it? The New York State BCI?
BCI file on NO. Okay.
So any of that stuff, because I actually get I would love to know about this, the substance abuse I had a problem with, and, these other things. I mean, because don't get me wrong. I mean, I think maybe every kid in, high school or is real young, dabbled in a couple.
You were referred for alcohol treatment. I have the referral. I have even some records.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'd like to see that stuff.
Yeah.
Or the pistol permit thing.
Yes.
Because the reason I want to see that, Steve, is because it makes me believe that there's someone out there faking.
It could be.
Records on me.
Absolutely could be, and it could be that they're using me too. They could have used me. It can happen.
So that's what I'm curious about, because I never filed for a pistol permit ever in my life, because I think it's wrong. I think if you're a law-abiding citizen, that doesn't have a clear. Well, I mean, what we call criminal is see, Frank Pansic drives a vehicle almost identical to that. So just looking out the window real quick, because you never know. I think he'd be a guy that would follow me. Just because he wants me and I want him. So
what does Frank Panasic do for a living?
He's a retired Hamburg police officer, detective.
Because I've sued him,
What?
I've sued him.
You sued Frank?
I believe I did. Let me.
I don't think you did.
Well,
he would have told me that. But I mean, that's that would be interesting to know, because that would explain some of the reason why he was trying to take Scope down.
Okay, let me do this. Power box. Be right. Give me the correct spelling of Frank Panisuk's name?
It's Panasuk.
Panasuk.
Correct. Yep.
Alright. I'm searching for it right now. I've got 3 lawsuits open now against it's either Hamburg or Orchard Park Police.
Well, I know Hamburg or Orchard Park does a lot of shady shit. I think Hamburg does too.
Yeah, we just got a very nice. All this is coming up under the name Frank Panisuk right now.
Oh, are you serious?
Right here. This is. I may show it to you if it's not because he was never my client.
Oh,
So
I would love to see lawsuits that
him.
he was involved in. If you could print those out for me. Because right now, remember when I said an enemy of my enemy is my friend?
Yeah.
So right now you're my friend, Steve. So take advantage of that, because it just may be that your enemy is my enemy too. So, and I think that after knowing, how hard these guys went against you just to, fraudulently start their system.
They weren't even on my radar really.
Yeah, because you got the wrong players.
You're talking about. Hang on a second here.
Yeah, you have the wrong players. It's not who you think. Maybe who was trying to take you down or didn't like you.
This is Frank, the husband of Lynn Panisuk.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of stuff on them.
I would love that. Cause that's all public, right?
No.
Oh, it's not.
Some of you understand that most settlements, most releases are conditioned on confidentiality.
Yes. And I have one of those with NYCM. That's why I can't blab too much anymore about them. That's why I don't see me posting about them anymore. Because I have a legal agreement with them.
Yeah.
But the thing I find really, really hypocritical in a lot of this is, now, I probably just would never use you as a lawyer just for the principle of our history or so on and so forth, right? Because, it would kind of make you and I both hypocritical to a degree. And it's just funny that Bud Schroeder went hard against you too, and you represented him for 15 years. That just fucking blows my mind. Do you swear? Do you swear or no?
Do
You
I
got a potty mouth?
No,
Okay.
I had occasional.
Okay, all right, I better watch it then. Because I get a little wired up. I build a lot of stuff around here,
You did?
Yeah. Even the Ford Lincoln dealer down here, I built that place.
Okay, let's see what we got here.
Wow, you sued Frank before. I guess that would make some sense.
Yeah, I got a history going back. Let's see.
Well, he said you sued one of his friends too, which was a good cop, and I think you and I actually got in an argument about that online.
Yeah. No, that one wasn't my case. I had the one that had a parking lot gun discharge where somebody tried to run over the cop.
Yeah, I think so. In Hamburg, a Hamburg police officer.
Yeah, that wasn't my fault. I would own up to it if it was, but I've represented far more officers than I've sued, but I've sued officers too and will continue to. If they're shitty officers, there's my potty mouth.
Right.
Viola Park Realty versus Frank Panisuk. Let's see. Frank and Lynn Panisuk.
Oh, so he has a lot of legal disputes under his belt, huh?
He does.
Mm-hmm.
Got a problem with Charmaine McLean. lived at 3651 Old Lakeview Road.
I think
Amberg.
he still does live over there, doesn't he?
I don't know, but this was in this matter was September of 2015. I don't think I ran until 16.
So what was that? Just a complaint or just a?
I have to open these, but these are all my.
Oh, where you sued him?
Where I represented a party against him, not me personally. Steve
Oh.
Cohen didn't sue. I didn't.
Well, right. Your firm did, sure.
Yeah, but all these resolved with confidentiality, which I will respect.
Oh, can we actually look at them as complaints though?
Maybe. Let me see.
Just complaints with
They weren't sealed.
before they were sealed. See, because you knew I had a problem with NYCM,
Yeah.
but now it's sealed. Well, technically it's supposed to be sealed.
Yeah, I got the whole file.
Oh, are you serious?
Yes.
How'd you get the whole file?
I have resources. And I have resources. It's okay. He had a problem with Melanie Metza. Yeah, this was all. This actually. These were sealed. These were sealed. The files were sealed. Erie County Surrogates Court.
Oh, so they don't even say the complaints or anything, just the.
We settled with them. There was. You see, I don't know what kind of a temper you have. If in a moment of anger, if you could say, "Yeah, Cohen told me this."
No. I couldn't and I wouldn't, because then I'd have to explain, Cohen telling me this. You know what I mean? They'd have to say, well, what do you mean? I thought you don't like Cohen. You know what I mean? So then I have to admit that you and I met on Saturday afternoon.
Players can change, but
No. What you and I are talking about is confidential right now.
Forever.
Right, and so anything.
Yeah. Okay. Let me share this with you, and just the Annalise Waskow, Waskow estate. They live in West Falls, New York.
Wasco, Waskow.
Yes.
Estate.
Annalise, Anneliese. The Annalise Waskow estate.
That's probably his mother-in-law, or maybe not. I don't know. Who knows? That's stupid for me to even say it. How do I know that?
And Susan Lamb.
Okay.
Made allegations that, and Johanna Klein and Charmaine McLean, Jesus, and Kimberly Clark, that's actually someone's name, and there's a company name that too. Kimberly Clark, Donna Brehm, Brehm, made claims that Frank and Lynn Panasek disposed of funds and property that they shouldn't have.
Wow. That must be like maybe.
They were internal. This was reported internally to his employer.
Wow.
And part of the settlement agreement was that there would be no more cooperation with the police department in their investigation. Unless some of these people who were our clients were subpoenaed, and we would honor the subpoena. But absent the subpoena, there'd be no more voluntary cooperation.
So this stuff, some of this stuff has to be FOIL requestable, isn't it?
That is questionable.
Mm-hmm.
The Public Officers Law, Freedom of Information Law, has lots of exceptions to it, you know, and litigation is an exception.
Mm-hmm.
Some settlements are an exception. If it was a municipality that had to pay, there's things that you could absolutely get.
Okay.
But individuals are not subject to FOIL.
Okay.
Courts, there's public record and then there are sealed records, and this is state. These are state records. Everything was sealed. And this was sealed, this was intensely litigated. And by the way, problem is, I can't show you stuff, but I could just, for the sake of just, so you know what I'm looking at here.
Okay.
We have a system, it's called World Docs.
Okay.
I typed in the search bar on the power box, just the name Panasec.
Okay.
So pull these things up, and you can see that this is intense litigation that happened this was 11. No, so forget that. From 7 of 15
Okay.
all the way
Oh, this is all the same thing.
through, yes,
Oh my
one
God,
case.
yeah.
6 of 16.
Yeah, so that was
All
pretty.
the circuit, Lynn and Frank Panasek were were
Okay.
our adversaries.
Okay.
And we got them good.
Ah.
We got them good.
So no wonder he doesn't. No wonder he's got it out for you.
He was never.
Well,
really
see
on
now. Okay,
And
so.
by the way, I wasn't the lawyer on this.
Well, it was a firm you were involved with, so right. So he probably just associates it
Yep.
with you.
It did. I did my department.
Mhm.
I'm the chairman of litigation, but I got nothing to do with trust and estates.
Mm-hmm.
My department did consult with the attorneys who were on this from the trust and estates department.
Okay, so here's the thing. So Frank Panasek and Max Tresman, I'm going to tell you right now to your face, okay? And this is me not bullshitting you whatsoever. And I don't bullshit you at all. I'm not going to try to lead you. I might try to lead you, but with information and facts, okay? They are your enemy, okay? Frank Panasek is your enemy. Frank did so much campaigning against you behind the scenes, and he still does.
What's the basis for it?
You sued some of his friends, his cop friends. And, I don't know every individual friend that you sued. Okay, I do know that you sued the city of Buffalo. You sued, the Buffalo police.
Countless times.
Right, so...
I've sued Timmy Howard.
Right.
And, and we would go to dinner and we would talk about that. It's, we got that lawsuit going. It's just
Right.
the way it is.
Right.
I had 3 deaths in the holding center on mine.
Right. So, but some cops would look at that as,
I know.
You know what I mean?
Frank has every right to hate my guts because I sued his friend. That's perfectly legitimate. That's a legitimate reason.
Okay, so here's the big conundrum for me. Now, when I realized that Frank was fucking me behind the scenes,
Yeah.
okay, after he got what he want with the destruction of scope or like the just beyond repair type of scenario,
Right.
He kind of started, doing like similar style campaigns against me, like, oh, and you can't do that. And I got to tell you something about Frank. He had, and this is why I would like to dig into his record. I would like to know stuff. I would like to FOIL request like his history on the police force, and if there's ever any complaints made about him.
There were.
Oh, were there? Because I would like to see those. Because that's public record. Am I correct?
You're wrong.
Oh, I'm wrong. Okay.
Yeah, there's the Civil Rights Law Section 50,
Ooh.
which says that police officer's personnel file is non-disclosable, and it requires a judicial subpoena. It's not a subpoena signed by a lawyer, a subpoena signed by a judge
Eek.
to get it. But because we've sued him, we may have some of that.
Because that would be very, very, very interesting to put out.
Well,
Hey,
actually,
listen.
you know what? I have to see if my 330 is here yet because it's 3:30.
Oh man, are you serious?
Yeah, I only set it aside for an hour.
Okay.
But this is what I do want to do. First, I've got to check if he's there,
Okay.
and then let me look for.
we're gonna definitely need to sit down and talk for a longer time
yeah.
because you're long-winded, I'm long-winded,
Yeah.
and it's sometimes it's hard to stay on focus with some of the things that we want to actually
Here.
discuss 100%.
Start with this. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Don't take anything out of the file. If you want to make a copy of something, tell me.
Okay.
And this is.
Jeez, I wouldn't mind having this stuff, Steve,
Sure.
to look through because this is so hard to look through.
I know it.
100 pages.
And this is it's a fraction. Of
Yeah.
the file. All right. I'll walk away so that you can walk away with something tangible.
Okay.
I'll make a copy notes. I'm going to kind of run over.
Okay.
I will tell you who has made police reports against you
Okay.
that I'm aware of.
Okay. Who's Brittany Vesper? Like a person in your office?
Yes.
Okay. And then Brooke Barron, she's a
She's
office.
She's a lawyer here.
Okay. I mean, it's not a problem. I'm not worried about them because you're collecting intelligence.
Yep.
That's fine. So. Yeah, this isn't 100% relevant. Some of it may be to me.
Whatever.
At a later point.
Anyway, here's
I would like it, though.
Here's an answer to one of your questions, just a good faith gesture before we meet again.
Okay.
Among the people who have filed police reports that I was made aware of,
Okay.
Stephen M. Cohen, Mark J. Odian, Allison Burke.
Wait a minute. Allison Burke.
Yes. Hope J.
Okay.
Tim Andrews, Michael Guerin, Paul Morgan.
Right.
Don Hay did not follow through with the police report, but he initiated one but didn't complete it.
Okay, didn't complete. Wait a minute. Just stay right there for a
Yep.
second. Didn't complete. Okay. Okay. So after Tim Andrews, who is next?
Michael Guerin.
Oh, okay. And then I imagine, and that doesn't say the districts.
No, this is just when I was compiling a name
Okay.
of the people whose reports I was made aware of.
Okay.
This is who's on it.
Okay. So Mark Odian, Allison Burke is his girlfriend. So I imagine they didn't really have anything to go on because otherwise they would have dragged me in court.
My understanding is that they were being fueled by me and Hope.
Right.
And when the Democratic Party said that they didn't want me to run because of my Second Amendment stance,
Mm-hmm.
and I backed off, I no longer had anything to lose. But I was using you
Mm-hmm.
because what I would do is in my Facebook posts,
Mm-hmm.
I would type out these obnoxious responses, but it would hopefully have
Triggered me.
it would make me look rational
Right.
with regard to my Second Amendment position. You have to understand.
No, I know. I
am
saw what you're doing. Yeah.
I am a liberal Democrat.
Right. Because I saw what you're doing, and then that's why I backed away from those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. Right.
So, but then when Jeremy Zelder, who I don't care for very much, I was very close with Len Lenahan. I was very close with Joe Krangle. You're too young to remember.
Yeah.
But Joe Krangle, and I knew Peter Crotty too, although he was almost dead when I first met him.
Mm-hmm.
But Jeremy is not 1/10 the Democratic Party leader there.
Oh yeah. Right. Right.
As soon as Jeremy said, Steve, we can't do it. We can't put you up because of your Second Amendment position. I said, all right, you're wrong. It's a civil right. It was written by the same person who wrote the other 9 civil rights, but fine, I want out of it. I didn't care. Well, same,
Right.
George Mason and James Madison, they wrote the Second Amendment just like they wrote, every other one. But as soon as I backed off, I wasn't vulnerable anymore. I had nothing to gain by using you.
Mm-hmm.
So then I fizzled, and I told these guys, I said, I don't care what happens. I'm not
Right.
pursuing anything.
Right.
And Hope J was the other side of the coin. She was frightened of what you might do. And she said, Steve, I don't want to irritate this guy. I don't want, it's not, I'm going to back off too, just like you, but not because for you don't care anymore because you're not running. But for me, I don't know what he's capable of. He might kill me.
Jeez. Well, I never even.
I'm just telling you,
Right.
I'm being very
Alluded to
honest
that.
with you,
Right, right.
that was her concern.
Right.
So,
Which I'm actually, I'm most like one of the more peaceful men. If you actually knew me or went out to dinner with me or knew my family,
Yeah.
I'm very, compassionate about animals, people, retarded, special needs. I love all those people. So I'm not a very violent person at all, unless you're attacking my family. So that's neither here nor there. So that's just a disclosure. But go ahead.
Got it. All right. Well, in any event,
We're gonna have to get together and
we will.
sit for a little longer. And
I'll see you out, and we'll do this again.
And we'll have to determine. What where we go from here as far as. From there, and one of the big problems. Right, we'll have to discuss a lot of this stuff later on because we didn't extract it here.
I'm sorry, I only walked over an hour. Next time we'll go over.
We'll figure it out.
All right.
Maybe we'll meet
All
at
right.
Bravo Cafe on an hour.
Sounds good.
All right, man.
Who, you advised me was a Panasek and who's that other guy?
Oh, you mean Tresmond?
Yeah, I look at Tresmond as being a bad guy, but you had mentioned a different name, I thought. Anyway, so I just want to be able to tell them, I'm going to tell them you had been in contact and that you just wanted to set the record straight. That was the reason for you contacting me, that you didn't care one way or anything legally, but you just wanted, you felt that I deserved to know who the real bad guys were, and you sent me a text copy that showed that Panasek, and there was one other guy. I forget.
Let me think here. Panasek. Let me think here. Well, yeah, basically it was Frank Panasek that was soliciting people to file complaints against you.
Yeah, and also, but for the destruction of Scope, because these are really mostly Scope people. I mean, the Hope Jays and a couple of people like that aren't. But
Well, why wouldn't they just ask me at this meeting? Because they'll hear it right from my mouth.
Right now, they still hate your guts.
No, that's fine. And people that hate each other's guts can sit in rooms and discuss things. You know what I mean?
Well, you and I did, and it blossomed into a very cordial relationship. I think we have a good relationship, but I want to soften them up because I think that I think we have an interest. Me and the people I'm sitting with are going to have an interest today in doing justice and stopping the people who really hurt Scope, really damaged Scope.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Bud Schroeder and I used to be friends. We would sit together, he and his wife, me and my wife, we got
Right.
together alive. There's hard feelings now.
Well, Bud Schroeder and Lois Reed, his wife, are big culprits in the destruction of Scope.
Yeah,
but
what they did is that it involved a guy named Steve Allstat, I think. But
yeah, well, Steve too. Yeah, they destroyed Steve's image when they're the ones that essentially destroyed Scope and allowed it to self-destruct. You know what I mean? Yeah, I hear what you're saying, though.
What I want to do is I want to rebuild, and I think rebuilding with you as an ally makes more sense than alternative strategies.
Yeah.
It just makes sense because I'm not getting the sense that you have an independent evil. I still do want to sit down. Remember, the one thing I wanted in return for all this was to understand what was going on in your head. So I find it fascinating and important. for me to deal with people who appear to be unreasonable or illogical, and I want to find out what motivated you so that I could use that in the future to try to establish some peace. I'm part of a couple of international initiatives, one of which is peace in the Middle East, and I get the same thing where I get Arabs and Israelis, neither of whom seem capable of listening to each other.
Right,
And
right.
it's a similar phenomenon. I got other examples, but I want to get to understand the inner mind. It could be something as simple as, hey, you had marching orders and you were going to follow the marching orders, and it wasn't about logic. Okay, that makes perfect sense to me.
Well, there's two aspects involved. The one aspect was it wasn't really you. You were just maybe a piece to get to an elevation that I was looking to achieve. Basically, why I went after Scope is because they went after Carl Palladino. They went after Dave DiPietro. They went after a couple other people that I really love, and I didn't appreciate that. And then one of the other things that I hold very dear is First Amendment rights. I think the First Amendment right is probably as equal. If they probably run consecutively together with the Second Amendment. Okay, so when I saw mass censorship, I was very upset about that.
Okay, we'll talk more, but I got to get on to that meeting.
Okay, yeah.
I got to travel a bit. A lot of these people in the South Towns. So, but you're still fully on board with this, correct?
I guess, yeah. I'm on full board with taking out Frank and Max. Absolutely. You know what I mean? That's like my main goal right now.
Frank and Max. Okay, good. So we'll stick to those two. There was another name, and I'm just.
Well, take notes, Steve, and then let me know about it. And who are you actually meeting today? I mean, you meeting with Don Hay and Tim Andrews, or?
You know what? I told people people aren't thrilled that I'm in dialogue with you.
Right.
And then when I said, I actually it was a strategic mistake, but I said, look, I feel like Nick Orticelli and I have gotten to be friends. They folded their arms, the whole body language thing changed, but I'm also the one who was most effective at fighting all of Scope's fights. I mean, we've won all the court cases that we've been part of, so they respect me for that, but they look at me as having been one most seriously smeared. So that gets me some points with them, that if I could say that Orticelli's a friend, maybe there's something to it, but they're not happy with it. But they said, don't ever mention my name. I did mention one name in this conversation. I shouldn't have, but they said, don't ever mention my name until I give you permission to do it. So I have to honor that, and I will honor it.
Right.
When I meet you, we'll go over the notes, things that were discussed. It's basically the same group that I met with at the lounge at my office with, and I shared my notes with you at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
yeah. Well, let me know how you make out, and then we go from there and discuss, strategic.
Yeah, is there anything that you need from me? Do you have any court dates coming up that maybe I could help with?
Well, Bowerly is suing me, but other than that, I'm not concerned about it. I think I'm going to win it. He basically is trying to get me on harassment, and it's not going to go anywhere. But it's just one of those things, that I want to win. I don't like to lose anything, But so I don't know how that's going to go out. But that is one of my main. But it all involves Frank. That involves Frank and Max Tresman too. They're the ones that kind of helped Bowerly orchestrate this criminal action against me. So that's another reason I want to take these assholes out. I can't stand them. I think
right.
I think they're bad people,
And you could help. You could give us primary testimony about how Max and Frank systematically tried to dismantle Scope.
Oh, absolutely.
At it.
Yeah, I could probably come up with 5 other reputable people to do the same thing.
Awesome. Okay.
All right.
Let me get going. I don't want to be late for this.
All right, let me know how it goes.
Will do.
Okay, bye-bye.
For the other people at the meeting, I am willing to withdraw my complaint, my criminal complaints from the Amherst Police, the Cattaraugus County Sheriff and the New York State Police. And I'll do that formally. I'll do it through your lawyer if you want. You got Jim Ostrowski?
Yeah, Jim's my lawyer.
Yeah, good. He's a good guy. And I'll do that through him. I'll formally do it in return for a sworn statement by you about everything that you told me about. That this wasn't you. You were basically being a pit bull for Max Tresment and Frank Panasek. So I'm willing to do that. I can't get any headway with the other people. They are, I guess you scared them or pissed them off or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
So all I can do is speak for me then.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really, to be honest with you, Steve. That would be great if you did do that. I mean, I'm not looking to gain anything here.
I'm not saying you're right. I shouldn't have phrased it like that. I'm not doing it for a quid pro quo. You're right. And because that actually takes some of the wind out of my sails too, because it makes it look like you were motivated to do it, and therefore you might be lying. And I want to keep your credibility as high as possible by you just giving a sworn statement that I can use, to go after who I consider to be now consider to be the true bad guys,
Mm-hmm.
or not bad guys, the people who are the ones who were trying to harm me and who upset my boss's wife and all that stuff. But this was coming from Panasek and Tresment. And I want to disclose something to you also. I considered not Max Tresment, but his father, I guess, John Tresment. I always considered him to be a friend and an ally. I just kind of wanted you to know that.
All right.
Over the decades, we were both Second Amendment lawyers. We had a lot of cases in common or kept each other up to date on them. But Max, I never really dealt with. But, just insofar as that goes. But what I'm telling you, my pledge, and I'll follow through with this, and Jim can monitor this, and it's not a quid pro quo, but knowing that you're not the bad guy, I don't have any interest in getting somebody in trouble who was acting at the behest of somebody else.
Well, like I said, Steve, I'm not threatened by any of these people, and I'm not, whoever was at the meeting, I mean, if they still hold a grudge, that's fine, because I might still hold a grudge against them. I don't know. But sometimes when you extend the olive branch, that kind of stuff just goes away naturally on its own.
It might. There were some people there that were at a meeting in Onondaga County that you apparently intruded upon and scared some people. I don't know the details of that, but they were, vividly, and everything is so fractured now within scope. Even the people who originally hired me, they are now in 3 different camps, and there is at least 3 different camps right now.
Right.
People who at one time were unified, now everybody's in different places. But in any event, so I am just going to tell you that I pitched hard. And I said these were the words that I said, and there were people there who recorded the meeting, and I think their intention is to hold it against me. But that's fine too. I said, look, I spoke with Nick. I find him to be a pleasant guy, and I have developed something of a friendship with him because I think he's telling the truth. I think he's not a bad guy. We are aligned as far as Second Amendment stuff goes. And if he's willing to help me, Steve Cohen, go after the people who really were the ones giving me the hard time, Panasek and Tresman, and if they were also the ones who wanted to hurt my client, Scope, I have no problem backing off of my complaints to law enforcement and with the DA's office. I was, I pushed them hard to go after you.
Who, John Flynn?
I'd rather not say, but I can tell you that, I did push hard at the DA's office, and I know a ton of people there, including, yes, John Flynn, who's been a friend of mine for about 30 years.
Mm.
So I pushed hard, and even when they would say, boy, he like walked the line, maybe he put his toe over the line. So I said, okay, we'll cut off that toe then, But now I'm very happy to call and say, you know what, the wrong guy is incurring my wrath.
Well, like I said, Steve, I'm not threatened by anything, and if I actually broke the law in any particular case, I will take responsibility for that. So it's not like a huge concern of mine right now. My main concern is that Frank Panasic and Max Tresmond, they, especially Max. I mean, because Frank was like an officer of Scope, but he really didn't have any business taking Scope apart from the inside, being an officer. He should have been resigned. I was.
Let me tell you something that I've done my own research too, and you and I are similar in the respect that we kind of like, we grab onto a tattered rag and we don't let go. And so I looked into Frank Panasic, and he was responsible for rumors that I sued two of his friends.
Yes.
And I didn't. I didn't. It was handled by HoganWillig before I ever got to HoganWillig. I didn't join HoganWillig until August of '09. It was handled by a predecessor of mine. I really had nothing to do with that. And I'm also not saying I wouldn't have taken that case. If they had come to me, I might have taken that case, but they didn't. So he was blaming me for his wrath, allegedly.
Right.
Because I hurt his friends. And, he's welcome to hate my guts because I have sued my friend, Tim Howard, several times. I like Tim, and I would break bread with him any day of the week. But when people die in the holding center, I bring lawsuits against him, not personally, not individually, but against the sheriff of Erie County. But if he wants to be mad at me for that, more power to him. Or I have sued. I actually counted. I have represented 313 members of law enforcement. This figure is as of December 31st, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
I've represented 313 law enforcement, and I've sued 11 law enforcement officers. So I'm much more on the side of the problem, backing off of my complaints to law enforcement and with the DA's office. I was, I pushed them hard to go after you.
Who? John Flynn.
I'd rather not say, but I can tell you that I did push hard at the DA's office, and I know a ton of people there, including John Flynn, who's been a friend of mine for about 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I pushed hard, and even when they would say, "Boy, he walked the line, maybe he put his toe over the line," so I said, "Okay, we'll cut off that toe then." But now I'm very happy to call and say, you know what, the wrong guy is incurring my wrath.
Well, like I said, Steve, I'm not threatened by anything, and if I actually broke the law in any particular case, I will take responsibility for that. So it's not like a huge concern of mine right now. My main concern is that Frank Panasic and Max Tresmond, they, especially Max.
For one of those, he's welcome to. But the fact that he was blaming me for something that that I happen not to have anything to do with.
No, I see your point. I see your point. Right. I can respect that. Yes, I respect that for that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Listen, I got to get into another meeting now that starts at 5, so I'm pulling in.
All right. Well, text me what you want. Text me where we go from here, and then we'll decide. Okay.
Okay. It sounds good.
All right, Steve. Talk to you.
Right.
All right. Bye bye.